Hello, my name is Justin Richards. Student ID is JURI07260. This is my muzzleloader build for FTT 130. From start to finish, from unpacking it to the firearm you see here before you today, has been a long process, but got it done regardless. Starting with the unpacking, of course, want to make sure all the parts were accounted for. There was no major damage to the stock. After that was good, went ahead and started with the inletting process. First inletting job I done on this firearm was the trigger lock. The trigger lock was a struggle. It seems like once you thought everything was good to go, it wasn't, so you had to go back in there, apply some more inletting black, and keep removing material till the lock and the trigger worked together the way it's supposed to. Once the lock was inlated, done the trigger group was done the trigger guard, and then went back to the butt plate and toe plate. That particular inletting job, the book called that it was a two-person procedure. I didn't have the luxury of a second person to help me with it, so I used awkward positions, and with the help of my Tipton gun vise, was able to get it inletted and fitted properly. After everything was inlaid and put together, of course, some shaping took place with the brass. Done some shaping, filing here where the toe plate and butt plate come together, take off them rough edges. Then shaped the stock with the butt plate to make sure they all ran together. Take away them sharp edges and stuff, making it look a whole lot better. Once that was done, we moved up to the thimbles. The rear thimble called for it to be inlated, the wood around it. I didn't see no reason to inlet that. Just done some sanding in the area to remove some burrs and polish that up, and it sit right in there. Drilled straight through the wood into the thimble. Worked great. Everything fitted properly. Went on up to the front thimble. Didn't have to drill through the brass there. Just had to drill through the wood. Drilled through the wood first try. Got it set in there. No problem. Up to the barrel cap. Had a little mistake here. Went and started to drill off center. Corrected it right quick. Still left a little indentation there on the barrel cap. Nothing major though. Something I can reorder and fix later on. I did forget to countersink those screws at first, those brass screws, and then remembered to do it and pulled them out and countersinked them in there so they sit flush. Coming to the barrel tenons. The barrel tenons was actually probably the scariest part for me, because getting my measurements correct on the outside and having to drill through the wood and the tenon at the same time really was worrying me a little bit, because I was worried that I was going to take a big chunk out of the tenon on the inside and just mess everything up. But thankfully I did not do that. The rear one went in great, straight through, no problems. Front one, however, I don't know if I forgot to change out a drill bit or something. I don't think I did, or maybe I was wobbling the hand drill back and forth, but I actually drilled just a hair bigger than what the actual barrel tenon pin calls for. So with some fabrication of the drill bit that I used to drill that, it fits in there perfectly. Done some sanding on it, cut the drill bit off, done some sanding, took off the sharp edges, and I now have a homemade barrel tenon in the front part. But everything is snug and it's being held together, no problem. The barrel tenons themselves, along with the sights on the muzzleloader, they had to have some filing and some sanding done on them to ensure that they fit properly on the muzzleloader. That was not a big issue. They went in greatly, no issues whatsoever. The screws on the side here, my back one, for some reason, after I stained it, would not connect with the lock on the other side. Hold on, I'm fighting yellow jackets. Bear with me. But the screw wouldn't come into the lock on this other side, so I had to do some inletting on this back screw. Inletted just a little bit too much on the sides. Quick fix with some Elmer's black walnut wood filler. Fixed the problem, no issues. Of course, you can tell that You know, it was a mess up, but not a big mess up, especially for my first try. Bluing the barrel. With the barrel, I went with Casey Super Blue. Turned out really well. 3 or 4 coats of this. Done really great with that. Later on, one thing I'll definitely improve about this rifle is I will do the browning process. My time schedule did not allow me to go through the browning process, so done a quick code blue, super blue process. Turned out great. Staining the stock after some sanding with the stock and some shaping, especially back here on the hammer. Had to take a file and some sandpaper, file that down because the hammer was touching the side of the wood here and wouldn't actually let the hammer fall with enough force. So some filing and some sanding there. Got that working just great. So after that was done, came in with some Danish old black walnut stain and stained the rifle. It's about 4 coats. Turned out really great. Looks really good. I always did like the black walnut color. So that was done, and then of course I done an initial polishing of the brass in the beginning, and then I done a second one after the rifle was put together. Of course I took the parts back off and brassoed them and used Mother's mag polish, and the brass turned out really good. Of course, it's been handled a lot and stuff like that because everyone's been wanting to see it and touch it and stuff like that, so the brass is going to be needing polished up again. Like I said, difficult procedures for the firearm was the barrel tenons and the inletting. First time doing any of those, so doing those right the first time I was really proud of myself, but the inletting seems like it took forever to get it to go right. Far as where would I use what I've learned on today's modern firearms, inletting and polishing parts. Aftermarket parts, there's a plethora out there for all sorts of modern firearms, and of course they're going to need some polishing and some fitting to get them to work right. Same thing goes with this muzzleloader. Polishing and filing the sights and the barrel tenons to get them to fit properly. Even inletting can be done on some modern firearms with their stocks. You know, sanding, especially when you're having to deal with fixing a broken stock on a modern firearm, a laminated stock or a wooden stock. Learning how to sand and filling those gaps and stuff like that from the brakes definitely will be used a lot in modern firearms. To conclude the video, we'll do a functions check. We'll go ahead and we'll make sure, it's never been loaded, but we'll go ahead and make sure that it's not. You can see the packing rod goes all the way down. And that was another thing, of course, that I done was stain the packing rod. Get it to work properly. Alright, now we'll go ahead and we'll go to half cock. We'll grab our handy dandy capper, Thompson Center Fire capper. Just the cap. Put it on our nipple, number 11. And then we'll go to full cock. Set the trigger. And stand by for the pop. And there we go. Cap falls off. Well, that concludes my build. Like I said, everything working just fine. Can't wait to get out this deer season for Kentucky's Black Powder October 20th and 21st and put some meat on the table with this work of art. Thank you.